morning, everybody. It's Friday here in Houston. And, of course, Global Sports Network here with you guys. And, of course, with us, John Foster. We're going to talk Rockets versus the Lakers. Lakers versus the Rockets. You decide. But, guys, this is the match we've always wanted. And we're also going to talk Houston Dynamo. Of course, they also won this Wednesday. The Astros are doing good. John, what are we talking today?
It's a good place to live in Houston. Yeah, got the U.S. Open going on. Also, Astros football season coming up next week with the Texans taking on those winners, the Kansas City Chiefs. So, big game there. We'll see what Texans have in with all that speedy offense and a revamped defense with a new defensive coordinator. But the Astros are hot, like you said, Chris. Also.
The Dynamo won Wednesday. I was there live, of course, guys. And what I thought that, I told you, and I tracked back a little bit, that I thought that having sports games during COVID was going to be a mistake as far as the fans and the cheering and people going there and the athletes missing all the adrenaline, I guess. It pushes them a little bit over the limit, and makes them perform a whole lot better. Well, I was wrong about that. But what I was right about, John, was that them not having fans was going to be a little bit monotonous. And while I was there live Wednesday at MLS with the Houston Dynamo, and of course they did win 3-0. John, 1, it was very hot. 2, it was very empty. And there was not much to talk about. Our media there was cut to less than half.
Really? Well,
that's correct.
Hot's not the word. It's hot. It was crazy, like 100 degrees. I know on the tennis court, Chris. I got to really watch out for the kids nowadays because it's 97, 99. Good news is, I think next week we're going to have 70-degree weather.
Cool front's coming out.
And the Texans are out there practicing in this weather. And it's funny, Bill O'Brien's talking about it. When they told him he's coming to Houston or he knew he was going to do that, they go, "It's hot in Houston." He goes, "Yeah, it's hot in Houston." But he's been a couple other places, lived in Georgia, and he's no problem. But when he gets here now, he says it's hot in Houston. So anyway,
well, you got to take into account the humidity factor, John. And a lot of folks that move from the north to the south, or vice versa, they don't count on the humidity.
There's no breeze blowing off the Florida coast there, exactly. So, and it's just hot. But let's talk Rockets. We got a lot more to talk about than the weather here, Chris.
Well, the big story, of course, guys. Rockets move on to the second round, John.
What a
against
game.
The fabled LeBron James versus the Rockets.
The King.
This should have happened 2018, but of course we know that Paul had that hamstring injury.
Right.
And, of course, the Rockets never got to the final versus the Lakers, John.
Well, he didn't have one this year, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
And what a game,
The bearded one will be there, of course, John. Yeah. So they're going to meet finally for the first time in the playoff scenario situation.
How do you see us pulling off on that one, Chris? I know that we're the only team that double-digit victory over them this year. Right.
Well, John, to be honest, I don't see, one of the things I kept harping about and keep telling you was, John, we need a 7-footer. John, we need a 7-footer. We need a center. You said, no, we can do it with the guards and the forwards, and we can do it with the bearded one.
We got ball?
We can shoot small ball, correct.
I don't know.
But
I don't know if I was
an
advocate of
that. The Lakers have 2 7-footers, John.
Yeah, the Lakers, they do. So we'll see how it matches up.
And a strong front court, John. So, and of course, Rockets have the shooters on the outside, John. And if there's going to be a factor here, then it's going to be the bench for the Rockets. And in that, Austin Rivers might have to come up big in that, John.
He will. There'll have to be a few people that came up big.
The series we just covered, of course, was the Thunder. And, in the East, the Thunder are pretty strong, John. So they were thinking that the Thunder was going to overtake the Rockets, and it wasn't like that.
There was a lot of people that thought the Thunder would be.
I thought that they would
win that. You thought they'd win that?
Yeah.
I thought that when it went to Game 7, I was worried, Chris. When it went to Game 7, Game 6 was very good. How Chris Paul dominated the game. He showed up, hit everything he needed to do, took over, and then James Harden wasn't around. Correct. In fact, he wasn't asking for the ball, and that was a big mistake. I talked about this earlier many times, how during the season, the secret to the success for the Rockets would be how Westbrook and how Harden decide who has the hot hand that night. Well, there it goes. It showed up, and Harden didn't have a hot hand, but Westbrook, he's been out for a while, so his hand wasn't hot at all, and he's the one that had the ball and gave it up. So it should have been, and I blame that on the coach. I blame it totally on him, and I know he doesn't like to do a lot of communicating early. It's ridiculous. It should have been timeout. Listen, guys, James has the ball. They were up by 6 with 3 minutes to go. And it slowly dwindled down to nothing, and then they took over and won it. And Chris Paul took charge. Now, Chris Paul was out of gas in Game 7 and didn't show up the way he did in Game 6. So, well, he probably set himself up because at the end of Game 6, he was like, hey, players like, myself and whoever, we show up in the late quarters. Well, he didn't have the gas, or he didn't do it in that Game 7. So even the great ones, they don't always show up, Chris.
Well, John, it's the tale of the tape. They either show up the beginning of the game and you can't see them, you won't find them in the end of the game.
Well, Harden,
they'll show up at the beginning, but they're never there for the end. You got to be a real elite superstar for that, John.
It would have been the end for Harden as far as his legacy, because if they had lost that game, it just would have really, and he didn't have a great game. He had a 21-year-old all over him. This guy, and you saw him hugging at the end of that basketball game. This guy played all over Harden. Defense, offense, outscored him. I think he had 30 points, just really taking control of Harden. So there is people that can control Harden in the league, and this guy's one of them. He's an up-and-coming star, and he's undrafted.
The only one thing that I want to get across to younger kids and kids growing up loving and wanting to play basketball, is if you are a real superstar, if you're a real human, John, and this is a problem, and of course everyone knows that the bearded one has always had the issue where he doesn't get enough assists, and to me he tries too hard, throws too many buckets when he really, really should just, pass the ball. If you want to be a winner, guys, kids, pass the ball, get assists, learn the game before you become a superstar. You must learn the game. You must share, John.
Well, you got to know when you have a hot hand, and you got to know who to distribute it to.
Yeah, John.
Just like
if you're 5 out of 18 for threes, that's not showing me.
How about OG coming up big in the last game against Boston here? That was big. Oh wow. Last second bucket, the second time game-winning bucket for the Raptors, and the Raptors are looking good so far in this series.
My prediction is the Rockets will have their hands full with LeBron James. Only one way to take care of that guy is I would have one guy in the backcourt, one guy in the front court. That's the way I would do it. Push him back, keep him in the middle, keep him away from the basket, John. If he's going to score on you, have him score.
What are they going to do with Anthony Davis? How about Anthony
Well, that's just it. Those are their weapons. Anthony Davis,
LeBron
James, 2 7-footers that could possibly destroy.
Yeah, Anthony Davis needs to be, if they're going to win, he needs to step up. LeBron's going to step up. And if Anthony Davis steps up, then, but we have two of the best in basketball.
Early in his career, LeBron James with the Cavaliers carried the team for how many seasons by himself and never got a win. And then finally he got a win, John. I mean, this is someone who's already proven that he can put a team on his back. Well, I wouldn't mind and put it past him that he's going to do the same thing against the Rockets if the Rockets let him do it, John.
Westbrook is going to have to step up and improve his game, which he's had time off. He wasn't there in either one of those games. A little better in the second, in Game 7, but he's going to have to definitely be there for.
Do you remember the Jazz in the '90s versus the Rockets? Well, the mailman Karl Malone. That guy carried the team on his back. John Stockton also did, yes, but primarily it was him, Malone. Right. And I see that matchup right now with LeBron James versus the Rockets. Because if the Rocket bench comes up big, John, this could be very heavy for LeBron James. But I don't think it's going to be that way.
So you're saying LA in what, 5, 6?
I think LA will take this game.
LA. All right.
There's more money if it goes to Game 7.
If I was going to bet, I would probably bet LA, but I do believe that the Rockets have a puncher's chance, And I'd like to see that. It just depends if Westbrook and
okay, puncher's chance.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
puncher's chance. There's no doubt about it. You can't count them out. Both LeBron and or LeBron.
Before John, just so everybody knows, guys, before COVID came into the picture, Vegas and everybody, and I did before I even looked up the Vegas numbers. I picked LeBron James and the Lakers to win the NBA championship, and or LA Clippers.
Clippers in LA. Well, you weren't alone with that prediction, Chris.
And then a few days later, it came out that Vegas had these guys. And just so you know, for the Super Bowl this year, okay, we're looking at Mahomes and the Chiefs repeating, or at least getting to the conference final. You're right. It'll be the conference final. It'll be the Chiefs and Ravens, and that's who I picked. And then when I looked with Vegas, I checked Vegas. Yeah. That's who they picked.
Who's in the Super Bowl on the other end?
It's KC versus
Seattle. Seattle, Minnesota, Green Bay, or St. Louis Cardinals. What do you think with DeAndre Hopkins?
Oh, I think it was we picked the Saints. That's who we picked.
Saints.
That's who they had as a big winner.
Yeah, they did. How about you? I'm asking you.
Me?
LA.
You going with who?
Yeah. No, I'm asking you. Yeah.
Let's
don't say the Los Angeles Rams.
Just because of Tom Brady, I'm gonna say Tampa Bay.
What would you pick? I was watching SportsCenter today, like everybody else in this whole world.
Right. Let's get on that subject.
There's somebody that I really like on there, and they're talking about it's a quarterback league, and it's true. Okay, a quarterback league. So you take Minnesota, you take Green Bay. Who are you going to take, Chris? Kirk Cousins, or are you going to take Brett Favre? I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers.
I'm gonna take Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. There you go. You mean Aaron Rodgers, right?
That is correct.
Sorry, that was a slip, people. Okay.
Yeah, that was a big
slip back in time.
Yeah.
All right, so so that's true.
You wouldn't put it past some teams that have very bad quarterbacks to get someone like a Brett Favre that's has been around. And they may give life 2 or 3 games, 4 games to a team that has a scrappy quarterback.
Yeah,
John.
Yeah. Well,
that's my new word.
Talking about Brady, right? You're talking about Brady.
No, I'm talking. Well, no, not necessarily.
Well, there's no Brett Favre. He kind of retired, I think, last year.
Right. No, I'm just saying a type.
Yeah.
Brett Favre type is what I meant.
Okay.
If you're a team that you have a no-name quarterback or a quarterback that hasn't done so well, well, the chances are, that if you get a superstar legend that's a scrubby, like I say, bring him back. And let's see if you can at least salvage 2 or 3 games, John. Why not? You have a chance in China, as I say, to reaching a postseason.
Well, you're talking about you're talking about Tom Brady then right now. That would be the scrubby guy you're bringing back. But he's not too scrubby.
He's still on top of his game.
And he's got a lot of weapons around him right now. And guess who just went there? Fournette. Fournette just signed.
Right. They let him go last week.
Give him another weapon.
Correct? Maybe Monday.
And now he's
get to that. Wow.
He signed with Tom Brady and that big tight end guy, Gronk or something. I think he plays tight end. Yeah. So they have a little bit of a team there. So the Texans, I'm real excited about the Texans, Chris, with the new offensive coordinator, and hopefully they get Deshaun doing a little bit of the running, a little bit design runs. I'm not saying run 20 times a game, but 5 to 10 times a design run that puts him in a situation where he's in control of it.
Now, John, you're right about that, about the runs. Is that you're right, because coming over here to the show, and we're talking about who we drafted, who we haven't drafted, and what the market is right now. Right. And we're talking about you have your solid gold left tackles, which. If you have a Tom Brady type quarterback, if you have, how do you say it, one of the greater ones,
Aaron Rodgers,
Rodgers, that sit back and they're a pocket quarterback, John, then it would behoove you to get a left tackle that is a superstar
on your backside. You're talking about,
which is a franchise tackle.
How about if you're left-handed? Then you got to go the other side. I think we're going to go on break.
If you got DeAndre Hopkins, if you got Watson, if you got Watson as a quarterback, that kind of left tackle is not as needed.
Good. All right, we're going on break. We'll be back at the Edge, and we're going to talk more Astros and tennis, too.
We work our whole lives to support our families. With one accident or illness, it can all be gone in an instant. Now there's a smart, affordable way to protect your family. Go to findhealthbenefits.com and discover low-cost life insurance for as little as $2 per month. Add to that a tax-deferred annuity that can help you protect your assets and grow your money for retirement. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. A critical illness can strike without warning and wipe out your life savings. In fact, it's the #1 reason for bankruptcy. Find Health Benefits offers an affordable solution. Get up to $50,000 if you get cancer, stroke, or a heart attack, giving you the peace of mind to focus on getting better while the plan helps you to pay your bills and medical expenses. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. 66% of seniors spend more time shopping for cable TV than Medicare plans. Most say because it's just too confusing. Laws change every year. The wrong plan could cost you thousands and prevent you from seeing the doctors you want. Introducing FindHealthBenefits.com. Save time, save money, see specialists without referrals. Go to FindHealthBenefits.com or call 877-235-6094 for this informative brochure.
Society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
This is former Rocket Robert Reed.
This is Mel Hewitt of Athletes United.
And we want to talk to you about our new program and podcast. We're talking about former athletes who are doing a lot of things in the community.
Various athletes in various sports. Swimming, track, soccer, football, baseball, you name it.
Former and current athletes here in the greater Houston area.
All promoting wellness, health. All promoting that which makes us all better.
Of Edge Radio, truth still matters.
Welcome back, Global Sports Network with John Foster. We're talking offense, defense, Houston Texans, NFL, John, and we're talking about how the Astros are. Excuse me.
How the Texans. You got
right, I know, right?
We're going Texans.
John, that never happened.
Right.
We're talking Texans. But how is it shaping up now that they're almost done with spring training?
Yep.
Training, and then they're done with. They're just finished a couple of scrimmage games already. They're getting ready for
against
the
themselves,
Chiefs, of course. Against themselves, of course.
Yep.
And what are we looking at? What are the key factors for the Texans maybe winning, whether it be offense or defense? I know that the contract signing for Deshaun Watson is one of the things that they're going to be.
They're working close on that one, I believe.
Right,
Chris,
and he still has 2 years left on his contract,
That'd
folks.
Be good.
And we're thinking that towards the middle, the end of the season this year, they're going to go ahead and maybe forgo the 2021 season and restructure the contract, where he's looking at probably about a 5 years, something that Deshaun Watson's probably going to
300 million, something like that.
It's going to be in the zeros, not as many zeros as Mahomes, but that's what we're looking at, John.
I believe sources say, he's looking at. He doesn't want a long-term contract. He does like playing for the Texans. He has a good relationship with Bill O'Brien, so. They know that Deshaun Watson is their franchise quarterback and quarterback of the future, and he's a great one. Like I said, I can't give more accolades to and more pleasure to say that Deshaun Watson is our Texans quarterback. You know, he has the run game, and hopefully they're going to include a little bit of the run game, which is going to put defenses off a little bit more, Chris.
Right.
When they have that threat, and they should do it early too, so that, you know, it backs a defense off or makes a defense, you know, a little more, puts them on edge a little bit more when Deshaun might have a design run takeoff, okay, which frees up our speed to go down the field, opens up the field, get the length, and I'm looking forward to seeing that besides the defense.
Right, and I'm talking about that. If he doesn't take off and run, he can always put the brakes on, John, and he's got his guys going downfield, going across the middle. I mean, that's what you're looking at when you have designs placed for him, that perhaps he'll say, hey, it's not working out. Let me stop. Let me look. Let me see what's going on. Right.
Well, when I'm talking about a design run, Chris, I'm talking about something where he rolls out and really he's looking to run unless something's open.
Right.
Or it's really a design run, a bootleg, you know, where he's just taking off. Or even, you know, the old-fashioned drop back and go, you know, quarterback draw.
Yeah.
Right, quarterback draw.
Right.
So those type of things. But you do that as a quarterback and as a play caller when you see an opening. You know what I mean? So there's a reason for doing it. Not only that, but it makes those linebackers, instead of dropping back, they got to stay forward a little bit and gives you speed time to get in behind that. Okay.
One of my favorite plays is, you know, the quarterback draw, and the other is the counter, where quarterback drops back and he gives the ball to the tailback.
Right.
And they run that
right.
one.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. I like that.
There should be a lot of drop-offs to the running backs. You know, we got both the Johnsons, Duke.
Oh yeah, I heard that the other day. Johnson and Johnson.
Like
the baby powder.
Yeah. The only thing, it would have been nice, which we didn't do, is to maybe pick up a very strong third runner, because one of these guys gets hurt right now. Who's the third one? You know, nobody knows.
That's one of the things they
you know,
were speaking about, John.
Yeah.
You know, maybe perhaps we could have picked up another fullback, tailback, someone that was going to make a little bit more of a difference, John. I mean, I like the receiving core. The only issue I see with the Texans, the defensive issue, would be the safeties. You know how they're both young and rookies, and what they have in there right now. Who's going to step up?
Justin, we got a guy. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler this year for sure. He steps it up a little bit. You know, last year, unbelievable. I don't think he made the Pro Bowl, but he was close. He was in the consideration.
We're good with linebackers, Sean. We're stacked there.
Linebackers
are good. Just depends on when Mercer's coming at the end, playing the end position, and you have J. Watt on the other side. We're looking very strong there, John. My only issue I see is going to be the secondary. Safety position, correct.
Yeah, more in the cornerback position, not the safety position, I'd say.
We'll see.
But
we'll see, John.
And then they're so strong. They were talking against the Chiefs, not against everybody, but maybe even being able to drop seven defensive backs back to defend against it. Right.
Definitely.
And if JJ's on his game and merciless, we can get some pressure up the middle and moving JJ around. Not
what
just
I said
earlier,
I think it was last week, the week before, was that if you have the Texans stunt and maybe change the defense or drop down and change to a 3-4, you might have 5 linebackers out there, John.
Like you just said.
That would help a lot. You'd have all the superstars out there.
That's the key to a successful defense. You got to show the quarterback different looks. You got to set up in something, and you're running something else. And that's what's going to make the defense more effective than it was last year. I know they're talking about with Kelsey, which makes sense. We're not going to just stick one person on him. You're going to put 2 people on him, and it's going to be different people at different times. So Mahomes is not going to know who's covering Kelsey and what the formation is, and that's smart. And that's one thing, like when we got blown out by the Chiefs after going up 24-0, I hate to even relive that.
Thank you.
But they kept the same guy on him, and he kept getting burned. They really didn't change it up. They didn't look for another answer. So this year I think it's going to be a little different, and got a new mind in there, Weaver, and this guy's very creative and new people, new blood in the defensive.
John, you know what I would do? You know, I know it's high school compared to professional, but you see it nowadays still. You just come up and you slam that guy in the face. Don't let him release.
Right, you keep him up on the line. That's an idea too. You know, every team you have a different approach, and that's one thing for sure. You know, although Kelsey's a big guy, so you're gonna need a big linebacker to come up and smack him one.
Well, you just line up on him and go boom.
Yeah.
1, 2. Let him go. 5 seconds, let him go.
That's right. You only have about 5 feet to hit him there. Well, anyway, that's Texans.
How
there.
about we go on to tennis, John? What's going on? in
Tennis, yeah, tennis got the U.S. Open going on. Nothing bigger than that. Serena Williams doing real good. Djokovic doing good. The number one lady in tennis, Plavsica, can't even say her name. But anyway, the number one seed for the U.S. Open this year was knocked out. Garcia beat her. Spanish, up and coming young Spanish player.
Hablaba español.
Yeah.
You know what, John? I've forgotten to speak Spanish on our show. So, guys, right now I'm going to break into a little bit of Spanish. And, of course, it's supposed to be about the trilingual show, and we're going to have our Chinese starting real soon. Hopefully next week we have our Chinese superstar here talking sports. So, John, let me break in right now. Estamos hablando de tenis profesional. Estamos hablando del US Cup, ¿correcto?
Yeah, U.S. Open.
And you just mentioned, acabamos de hablar sobre quién está en la posición número uno. Can we go over that list again? Who's number one? And who's
Serena Williams, you got Plavsica, the number one seed
las
at the
mujeres.
U.S. Open. Got knocked out the other day by Caroline Garcia. And this girl's-
una española.
yeah, Spanish from Spain.
Una española derrotó a quien? Who did she beat?
Yeah, she beat Plavsica.
Plavsica, que es, she's Russian or
No, I don't think right. She's from Europe.
Ukrainian,
Yeah.
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Es de Europa.
Yeah.
No estamos seguros ahorita, pero pues la española está ahora en el número uno en el puesto de US.
A big
Open.
match coming up, Chris. We have Serena Williams taking on Sloane Stephens, the other American.
Wow.
So that's a big match.
Serena Williams contra Sloane Stephens aquí, dos americanos en lo que es el US Open. Ese juego entre ellos dos, tomando la cancha, es un juego muy interesante, es un match muy interesante, because, of course, es aquí de Estados Unidos. Son dos mujeres en Estados Unidos, una que ha sido campeón muchas veces y otra que veremos qué es lo que ella va a hacer. Right, John?
Yep. Chris gave me some good news with his. Maybe we're going to go to the Invesco series again.
Right,
That would
John.
be good. They're having another series I hear in Orlando, Florida, and they got a few people playing in that. People might know of Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras, right on down the list. So I'm looking forward to Andy Roddick, Marty Fish. Marty Fish is the new captain. Of course, Jim Courier, who kind of manages and runs that series.
Right. And of course, you've interviewed Jim Courier.
Jim Courier, Marty Fish, Andy Roddick. I haven't got Andy out, but I'm hoping to get Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. That'd be good. Very good. Maybe talk to them a little bit about
Sure.
my ambidextrous.
In 2017, they came to Houston in October of 2017.
They
And we
did.
were able to interview John McEnroe.
John
John had met him
right, John
before, but this
McEnroe's
is the
still
first time he
playing.
was able to interview, right, John?
Plays a good game. Yep, that McEnroe, one of my first interviews. Yep, that was fun.
good.
and
That was
interesting.
fun.
Yeah.
John was like a kid at a candy store.
Yes, I
Guys,
was.
Really, you got to take my word for it.
But I'll tell you, getting John. I've talked to John McEnroe,
Yeah,
met
yeah.
him before. I have a friend that we're going to have on here.
Sure,
that
sure,
grew
sure.
up with John McEnroe, Bam Winitsky. Okay, I did one show. You can check it out on John Foster YouTube, where I talk about Bam Winitsky, number one in the world, 12s, 14s, 16s, 18s, 4 in the world in doubles, 32 in singles. I've been talking to Bam lately, even about what he's doing. He's living out in L.A. And next week for the U.S. Open, next Friday, let's get Bam on.
Sure,
I was
sure.
thinking about doing it today. We can get some calls in here, hopefully, or get him on Zoom. He doesn't do a whole lot of interviews, but he grew up along with McEnroe, sometimes ahead of McEnroe, most of his life. He has wins over Ivan Lendl, Jimmy Connors, played, got to the final four, the semifinals of the U.S. Open and Wimbledon. And when you do that, you're in an alumni club. And we'll talk a little bit about that and get a little insight into the tennis world this year and in the past.
Yeah, John, estamos hablando de tenis, de la serie de campeones, de la leyenda de los campeones. En 2017 estuvimos aquí en Houston con John McEnroe y algunos de los otros campeones de los 80, 90 y 2000. Y pues tuvimos varias entrevistas. Ellos regresan ahora, pero no van a estar aquí en Houston. Tendremos que ir a Florida, Miami y Orlando, porque estamos pensando de que es algo que tiene que ver con el COVID-19. Y obviamente no pueden viajar, ni no pueden tener muchos fanáticos, me imagino. So es algo donde el Coach Foster y yo vamos a estar yendo a Orlando, Miami, para cubrir esos juegos. Y como hablamos, pues en el 2017 estuvimos aquí con Jim Courier, estuvimos aquí con John McEnroe haciendo varias entrevistas, James Blake, y fue algo que fue muy, muy monumental en la vida de John Foster. And, well, John, I'm just letting everybody know that it was very monumental for us to be able to cover the Invesco Series.
Invesco Series, that's a legend
2017
series.
And now, and I let them know that probably more than likely, I just looked at their schedule the other day.
Right.
They're not coming here. It's staying strictly in Florida,
Right.
Orlando, until otherwise rescheduled. Probably more than likely because of the COVID issue.
You know, I went down there last year and saw they do it at the USDA National Training Center in Orlando, which
That's
now
right.
is also home for the USPTA, United States Professional Teaching Association, and visited with my friend Fred Bianco, who is the COO of the USPTA, and then also the CUSTA. I had a good talk, and I have it on tape. We haven't released it yet, but the COO of the USTA. Yeah.
Cool.
So-
and I know they used to be here in Houston.
They
And
were here in
Houston
Houston.
had very good relations.
I
with
had
them,
a
right?
very strong relationship. I used to coach Tim Heckler's son, and he was the president of the USPTA, president, when I'm saying CEO of the USPTA here in Houston for over 30 years.
I keep telling Oscar, our producer, that he's got two very good jewels here, and I don't know that he's really catching what I'm trying to tell
Yeah.
him is that he's got two very good professionals here that just don't say they're professional, or they say, well, we just started doing, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing Comcast postseason NFL, John, back in 2010.
You have a few interviews here
in
and there.
Espanol, in
Yeah.
Spanish. Who does NFL postseason in Spanish? I did. I have. Guys, Oscar, please, when you see us here, you know, you're a gold mine, John. You're a professional tennis coach, John.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Chris got me in this business a long time ago, 4 years ago maybe, and I appreciate that. I love talking sports. Houston's a great sports town. I mean, look at this, Chris. We're talking Rockets. We're talking Astros.
Right now
we're talking Texans. It's
Right.
incredible. What a town to live in. I couldn't be more thrilled my whole life. I love
Guys,
sports.
right now, this week, if you're a Houston fan or if you're in Houston, it's a great time to be in Houston. Of course, going into the weekend, which is Labor Day weekend, you've got the sports. You've just come off a lot of wins, guys. We've got a lot of momentum going into the holiday weekend, John.
Yeah.
God, that should be something to marvel at. And we're waiting for the Rockets.
The
series.
Lakers, Rockets,
That is
yeah.
going to be on, John.
Yeah.
And the reason we're talking about, you know, our professionalism and what we do, what we've done, you know, you just didn't bring us in here right now, and we're trying to learn this. Been doing it for a long time, guys. I've interviewed everyone and their grandmother. I know English, Spanish, and Chinese. It's not something that I've never done before.
So you know a little bit about the Rockets
I know
or
a
the
little-
Astros.
The Astros, Rockets, you name it. I'm trying to get to that Steve Smith story that you told me about.
Oh,
with the car.
you want
That's where I'm trying to show.
Okay, I
that
see.
Just because I
I was
know.
wondering where he was going with this. We were having a
I'm
little
not
talk.
gonna
Yeah.
talk over you. I'm gonna give you your due respect.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So, all right. Well, I thought we'd talk a little Astros, but anyway, I was watching Sports Center this morning, and Mr. Stephen A. Smith is talking, and a few other people talking about a coach being selected there. Great coach. Do you know who that is?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Anyhow, and you know, Stephen A. Smith is a leader in the industry that we do. And in fact, he makes the most money, right? I think Stephen A. Smith is the largest. And, you know, and he's talking about the selection. And then he's making it, you know, well, a black man can't get a position as this coach for a winning team, even though to get this position, you got Kevin Durant and you have Kyrie Irving. Kyrie, I keep saying that, Kyrie. So Kyrie Irving, they got to sign off on this too. Well, anyhow, and it's really a shame that he makes it like this because it's not. Look, he's a leader in the industry, and when he should make it about his success and how you can make it. So to say that you can't make it, that's a mistake. That's dividing. You can do anything you want in this country, no matter who you are. You got to work hard enough. You get breaks, you don't get breaks. Right. There's jobs that I don't get, and I'm perfect for it. Well, a lot of times it's political. So, you know, I think that Stephen A. Smith Yes. You shouldn't be talking about you can't do it. You can talk about why you can do it because you've done it. That's the bottom line. He's done it, and then he talks about
John,
why you can't do it.
Correct.
That's ridiculous.
I am Latino Hispanic, and I received no formal education for journalism. I learned as it was on my own, on the streets, whichever way you want to look at it. I have my own newspaper. I had it for 15 years. I have a website that I maintain. It's my website. Right. I made it. I created it, and I do everything that needs to get done on their website. I have never, ever not done what I wanted to do. It's always been left up to me. So for someone of this gentleman's stature to say that someone of his own race can't do it, that's
or they don't get it because of that. That it should have been. We've had a president, okay, with the worst name in the world get elected. I mean, that should prove to you right there that anything can happen.
Right.
And for somebody of his stature to say that you can't, that's ridiculous. Or like, anyway, it would help if he would say, look, what I've done in my business, in my profession, he's at the very top. He did it. Explain that. That'll give people motivation. You want to motivate people and help people, show people you can. You can't sit there at the top of the mountain and say, you can't do this.
Coach, you want to unite the people. You don't want to divide the people.
Right.
I've been told several times, Chris, your people, you and your people. I'm like, what am I, Moses now? My people? What are you talking about? You know, we're all inclusive here. We're not selective. We're not individuals here. When I look at a crowd, I look at people. I don't look at colors. I look at the mass.
Right.
My words are being heard by the mass, and that's what counts. When you go up on a podium and you say these things that Mr. Smith just said, you're not giving a very good impression.
Right. You're not helping. You're putting an idea. You're
whether
a leader
it be the
for
community or a mass.
You spread the wealth. Don't spread the
hate or otherwise.
Well, you can't do this. You're spreading that. You're in a position to give power, and you have power.
Right.
So give the power and let the people believe what they can do, because you're in a position where you can tell people what they can do or what they can't do.
Well,
and if you tell them what they can't do, they're going to go do what they can't do because they can't. Because Stephen A. Smith said it.
Sure,
I can't. Let's get off the subject.
And the one thing that's most important, Coach, is the respect. I will never yell over you.
Yeah. I'll yell over you. I do it all the time.
I'll see one
That's
show.
what I do.
I think I've seen one, maybe two pieces of what he's always yelling, man.
Yeah.
Relax.
Well, I'm a coach. I yell a lot. That's what coaches do.
So, guys, just want to throw it out there. We're on Edge Radio, guys, and this is Global Sports Network. Like I was stating earlier, this is not my first rodeo, as it were. I've been doing El Dorado News, Stellar News, for the last 15 years. Radio, TV, English, Spanish, and Chinese. This is not my first rodeo. John, respects to everyone that has their trade and they do what they do. Coach, respectfully, you're a professional coach. If you don't have John Foster as your coach, you're making a mistake.
John Foster, tennis.com. Give me a call. Real busy right now, but we'll talk to you and help you out and give you any advice or direction you need. Keep an eye on us. Chris Fernandez, El Dorado Sports, Global Sports Network.
That's right. Stellar News, guys. We're going to have a new issue coming out pretty soon. And, of course, like I said, I got both websites going, John. We're going to come out with some new videos pretty soon that will help this station grow and get bigger.
Right.
Definitely.
And we didn't talk so much about the Astros. So shout out to the Astros. The Astros are doing great. Greinke, he's the man. A lot of people were real concerned after the first game. He's showing up. Altuve getting some people back. I don't know about Verlander, if he'll be able to put it back together, but and be able to pitch again this year. I know one media person came out and said he was done for the season, and maybe Verlander has a little something to pick at him. And then right after he announces, no, he's done for the year, Verlander's like, I didn't say I was done for the year. So hopefully, I heard he was throwing like 20 balls, or something like that, and then I haven't heard much since then about what he's doing. So the Astros did not pick up somebody, which I don't know how they can do that unless they know Verlander's coming back, because we lost our best closer and we lost our best pitcher. And so to not have the deadline go by and not pick somebody up, it's a big mistake. Chris, I think we need to sign off.
All right, guys. The Edge. And we were signing off, and we're still going to sign off.
There we go.
We're on the Edge Radio, guys. And, of course, we'll be back next Friday. We got one day short, so we'll be back Friday. And happy holidays.
Yeah.
Have
Happy
a
Labor
great,
Day. Be
safe
safe.
weekend.
Yep.
Thank you.
Have a great